I'm Lee Spencer of the Racing Boys, and I'm sitting here with Josh Williams. Josh is the spotter for Ryan Blaney and the number 12 car. And I guess it was just always assumed you would find your way in NASCAR. I mean, it's not many people whose grandparents' house overlook Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, I literally grew up on racetrack property there in Martinsville. My grandfather was the general manager in Martinsville for 24 years. So that was going back before I was even born. So I grew up not knowing any different, riding bikes around the racetrack and stuff when I was growing up, sleigh riding in the field. So it's really all I've known since I was born.
Still your favorite track, or?
It's my favorite to go to because I see friends and family and I know a lot of the people there. But from a spotting standpoint, I love the plate races. Nothing's better than that.
Well, we're getting ready to get into plate racing. You know, clearly this podcast will likely go up after that.
Yep.
But what are the keys to restrictor plate racing?
The key to me is just always being ahead of what you see is happening and with runs and stuff like that, and giving as much information as you can as quick as possible. It changes so quick that if you think about something that's happening, it's already happened. So you have to be ahead of it, and even if you may be wrong sometimes, being ahead of it in case it does happen, you know what's happening. But the biggest thing this year is we've ran a lot of different packages almost every week at the plate tracks. It's like people don't realize it, but changing spoilers and stuff like that, it's a big difference. So this week will be, I think, completely different than even the first three plate races we've had.
That's curious because when we think of Talladega of late, we think about the Team Penske dominance.
Yep.
What is it that makes Team Penske just absolutely lights out at Talladega?
I think it's everything. It definitely starts at the shop with the cars. The cars are amazing. We focus a lot on how our cars will be in the race, not necessarily qualifying, which you can see that. But it goes from the shop to the engineers having the car set up for the race and how they handle, to the drivers working together and understanding how to draft together, to even the spotters understanding it. I feel like we probably have the best core top to bottom from shop till we get to the racetrack. So I feel like that gives us the best chance.
And working with young Master Blaney,
Yeah.
You took a big leap of faith, I would say, getting off the H.A. Allmendinger train. I guess you had taken all the money you needed to off of him from the golf course, and then moving on to Blaney. But my God, the kid had so much blue sky ahead of him. Third-generation racer. You guys were at the Wood Brothers together, and just an all-around cool kid who I think will be the next face of NASCAR.
Yeah, I agree, and it was definitely a leap of faith, but it was one that I felt like at my point in my career, if I didn't take a chance and go to Penske, that I wasn't going to get that opportunity again. Like, you only get to turn that down once, and I didn't want to turn it down. So it was take a leap of faith, and it doesn't work out. At least I just went out on a limb and tried. So it's definitely worked out. I love working with Ryan. He keeps improving every week, so it's working out good so far.
What is it that you like about him personally, just, hanging out off of the racetrack?
I think away from the racetrack is how calm he is, but he has fun. Like, we do a lot of fun things together, from everything from, I don't know, throwing axes at his house to playing, riding bikes, whatever we do. It's always fun with him, but I think the main thing with me is how grounded he is, coming from a racing family, that he's never let it get to him, and he don't feel like he owns the spot here. Like, he feels like he has to go out and deserve it, and I really appreciate that about him. Like, every week he gives 100% no matter where we're at. So that's my favorite thing to him. He's always aggressive.
It was funny because I was talking to Casey Kane the other day on the phone, and we were laughing at Blaney, who was, after winning the Roval, was almost apologetic.
Yeah.
And Casey and I laughed about it because it's like, man, you're going to lose so many more than you win. Don't ever apologize for winning a race. I mean, you have to put yourself in position, right place, right time to pull that off. And that's what you guys did on the Roval.
Absolutely. And I feel like we've probably given away 2 or 3 races this year that we were probably the best car and should have won. So it washes itself out. I'll take a win every once in a while, but it comes from everything. Like, we barely missed that wreck. He did a really good job of missing the wreck. He did a good job of driving back through the field when we had to take tires one time. So he put himself in that spot to be third there with whatever was going to happen on the last lap. So it was kind of a shock, but that's probably why he felt a little apologetic. You're running third trying to make it to the next round. You're not really thinking about winning at that point. So he probably felt like he stole one, but we'll take it.
Speaking of taking leaps of faith, you did, in a way, taking your career path, trying to become a professional golfer. Can you talk to the fans a little bit about how you got so good at the game and just the challenges that you saw in another form of sports.
Yeah, golf honestly came a lot from my parents were going to the racetracks obviously a lot growing up, and my neighbor played a lot of golf. So he was my age. So that was kind of how we bonded through high school, was playing golf when we weren't at school. So that was kind of how I got into it. I got good because we played every day nonstop in the summer. But got good, turned pro, played pro for like 5 years, and it's a struggle to play mini tour stuff. It's so expensive. So it kind of got to the point that I needed to find some way to make money, because that was more of a hobby. It was fun, but you weren't making money at it. So that's when I started spotting, kind of doing both things. And it got to the point that I was spending all the money I was making spotting trying to play golf. And I'm wasting years. So I just went into spotting full time. But for me, I get a lot out of golf from the mental aspect of it. And I think that transfers over to spotting, of being calm and understanding the pressure that's on the athlete to perform and what it takes to do that, and getting anxious and yelling and all that doesn't go anywhere. So I feel like that's a big thing that I have that a lot of people don't, is I've been in professional sports and understand how that works.
Yeah, because I was kind of, a story I've always wanted to do over here is, having covered the U.S. Open this year at Shinnecock Hills, the golfers are always thanking, so many people. There's so many people on their team, not in the same way that there is on a race team, but they all mention their psychologists, sports psychologist this, sports psychologist that. And somebody asked about that yesterday in here. You know what it's like, because it's an individual sport. But on the other side of that, when the driver straps in, there's so much going through his head. I'm kind of surprised more drivers don't use sports psychologists.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something they could benefit from, for sure. Golf it's similar to racing, where it's a team sport, but only the golfer, just like only the driver, really gets the credit for it, because they're the ones that do it. So a lot of you don't realize how much goes on in the background, from psychologists to nutritionists, everything that goes on with it. So I feel like that's something that I understand too. Like, it takes a whole team, and that one guy may be doing it, but it takes a lot of people going in the right direction together.
Now, were you on the Nike tour?
I played it was the e-golf tour at the time, which was the Tar Heel tour. I played a couple web.com events. I did a few qualifiers, but mostly was the e-golf and Carolina Pro Golf Tour. And then I'd play the Florida Pro Tour in the summer, or in the winter.
I heard your big boss man, Roger Penske, the captain, has put a little carrot in front of the horse, so to speak, as far as getting you a starting time at the Masters, Augusta National. What's your side of the bet? What do you have to live up to get that tee time, Josh?
We haven't got completely all the details sorted out, but basically, if we win a championship, that would be an opportunity to go there if we can work it out. So that's something we need to hurry up and do in the next few years. Hopefully, maybe this year. We're still got a chance, so that would be incredible. I know a lot of people have played there, and obviously coming from golf, that's the one. That's the holy grail, right? It's the only place you really, if you could ever play one round of golf, that's where you'd want to go. So that'd be cool, but that's a long stretch. But we'll keep nagging at him, trying to get it.
And finally, being a Martinsville native, when we go there in 2 weeks, I always see the Team Penske drivers in clearances. Is there any place else in Martinsville that we need to recommend that the fans check out other than clearances? Because I've got to say, I really feel let down if I don't get there at least once during the weekend. Yeah,
you have to go to clearances no matter what. If you're there for a day, go to clearances. I always go early because I try to get all the restaurants I enjoyed growing up. So I'll go like a day or two early just to eat. It's literally for food. But you have clearances. You'll have Elizabeth's Pizza. They have really good subs and pizza. We have Mi Ranchito. It's a good Mexican restaurant. And what would be the next place I'd probably pick? Najar's uptown is really good pizza. I'll probably say that. Up in Collinsville. That's a good place. But definitely if you're there for once, you have to go to clearances. That's for the racing history and everything they have on the walls. There's a really cool experience for a race fan.
I wonder if you can still place a bet.
Yeah, probably. If you ask the right person.
Hey, Josh, I really appreciate your time today. Good luck in the race.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for everything.